Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill. It's Hollywood. It's books. It's gossip. I'm shook. It's memoirs. It's martinis. It's Studio 54. It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Hey, best friend! Wow, so good to see you.
Hey, freaking pasa bitch.
I know all of our listeners are on the edge of our seat about my Valentine's Day.
I know, because we've been talking about it for like 3 weeks.
And it was famously last night. And I know that you kind of had a guy's night in.
I had a guy's night in.
Did you watch Top Gun? And
yeah, just fucking made myself a really awesome Belvedere, if you're wondering what that is. It's basically a whiskey Negroni. And I watched, guy style, I watched the new straight to Amazon Prime J-Lo movie.
Oh, wait. As in the one with like Josh Duhamel?
Yes, and Jennifer Coolidge. And it's like about pirates and the Philippines.
Is it bad?
It's random. It's bad. Yeah, it's very like,
Was it
not a movie?
Giving like the Sandra Bullock movie where she goes on like a treasure hunt?
I was thinking about tales of like Sandra Bullock's Lost Ark last night, where you're just like, this should be fun, but there's just something fake about it.
It's like overproduced. There's like too much budget. It's like
it was really slick looking.
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge, of course, kind of has really funny lines, and you're like, what is this relationship? And Lenny Kravitz is in it.
Okay, so it's laden with cameos.
Yeah, it's cameos. It has periods of fun, but overall, I'm giving it kind of 2 thumbs down.
2 big thumbs down.
2 big foam thumbs down.
Thank God you had that Boulevardier to nurse.
Exactly. I mean, but J-Lo always looking sexy as hell.
Nice. You were beating off.
Yeah, exactly.
So my boyfriend had told me to like be ready at 6:30. I was
on the edge of my seat.
I was ready at 6:30. Thank you very much.
You were ready at
We leave.
6:30.
And we're getting the subway. I'm like, okay, we're going to Manhattan. I kind of felt like he's probably doing some like old school restaurant, like, and that would be cool. And I love old school New York. But I'm like, but like, where have we not been? Is it like some hole in the wall? Is it some iconic like
Wait,
hotel
you were
vibes?
hoping for old school?
I was kind of thinking, I hope it's like more hole in the wall or something that I really have never heard of.
You actually wanted like Mongolian sushi.
Kind of, but like,
but it's made in a deli and
yes.
you're eating on the street.
Yeah. Then we literally get on the Staten Island ferry. And then I was like, if only the bar was open. Then he pulls out a mini bottle of wine from his coat. Fabulous. With like 2 coupes.
And was it like a mini Sutter Home or like a medium mini bottle of wine?
It was a medium Barolo.
Gorgeous.
So we get off in Staten Island in the town there. And then we get on the Staten Island Railroad. So I'm like, oh, wow, we're really going somewhere.
Which I didn't even know existed.
We like walk into a strip mall and then suddenly we are at this old school Italian like huge double-decker restaurant called Bocelli, and there's like so many frame photos of just like Hillary Clinton, Rudy Giuliani, the Pope, like meeting the chef on the wall. The place is absolutely jammed on Valentine's Day.
With like so many couples celebrating their marriage of 17 to 27 years.
It's a lot of like 22-year-old girls with middle parts and their boyfriends in Under Armour.
Oh, that also makes sense. He's just like, gotta make a reservation. They're like, well, yeah, my parents, I always was taken to like Botticelli.
And so like everyone's at Bocelli and all the girls are like so pissed. And like,
it's my favorite part about Valentine's Day. It's just going to a restaurant. It's all pissed girls.
How insane is this? We saw a double date with like 2 gay guys and a straight couple.
Oh, wait. 2 gay guys and a straight couple. Were they giving Staten?
Yeah. They were like 2 Staten Island gay guys with like Guido like gelled back hair. And one of the gays was in Under Armour and the other was in like a tight red polo. And then there was the straight couple who were like kind of on their phones separately for a lot of the night.
That reminds me of the book that we read this week.
Oh my God, it does.
So
Wait, because it's so dinner?
Well, I just feel like the star of our book is like always like with a straight couple and another gay guy like at a restaurant.
Yes, he is. You know him from Bravo. He's the inventor of the Housewives. He's literally the king of all women. His name is Andy Cohen.
Yes, Hunty.
And we read his second book, The Andy Cohen Diaries.
which are modeled after
The Andy Warhol Diaries.
the Andy Warhol Diaries.
He basically like read the Andy Warhol Diaries and then was just like, oh wait, I want to do this. Like, I'm obsessed with Andy Warhol. He's so like smart and like documenting this urbane, like sophisticated life, like full of celebrities. And like, that's kind of my life. And like, I want to do that too.
God, this book
This
is
book is
packed.
Okay,
it's
wait.
like, where do we even jump in? But so this book also was written in 2013 to 2014. So
What a year. Kind of the
A
end.
turning point?
It's so the end of an era in this way.
you know, I don't think he's saying it's the end of Indie Sleaze, but like it is.
I have to say, I loved this book. I was completely riveted by it. And I think like, especially having read so many memoirs, because I have this podcast where I read celebrity memoirs.
Oh my God, I'm looking for podcasts.
Oh, you should check it out. It's called Celebrity Book Club. But memoirs have this very kind of stock narrative that they have to follow. It always has to have this like redemption arc and like traumatic childhood, and then they have the thing that happens when they get to LA or New York, and then they meet the dodgy people, and then by the end they're always like, but I'm so happy to be where I am in my life and I'm so proud. They all hew to that exact same narrative basically, and I feel like it's actually so much more poignant and profound to like, you know, all the little things that add up over the course of the year and that amount of detail. And you end up revealing, I think, deeper truths.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you, Stephen. I really came away from this diary as like, I would say before this book, to me, like he seemed evil. But anyway, the Housewives to him, like it's a little more just like, oh, this is my job and I do have this cool, fabulous job. It's less I'm a puppeteer.
He's actually not that Machiavellian. And I think like one episode that really spoke to that was when, so he gets cast in Lady Gaga's GUI video. And I think Gaga really understands his role in culture, and like she's playing with that. All the housewives are in the video and he's this kind of like Zeus, and he is this like figure who is in charge of all these women. And like the book is all about women basically being obsessed with him. They all need him to make them famous, and just like surrounded by women all the time. He's always hosting all these like women's events and women's breast cancer
like,
walks and like Women of the Year awards and Women of the Week awards.
He's
and,
like, so I'm co-hosting the breast cancer awareness like ALS like walkathon that's streaming on Oxygen with Wendy Williams. Wendy was late. I finished up and thought I wanted to get with a drink with Wendy, but then Bruce, Kelly, SJP called and we went to Barbacino. Then we went to Barracuda. I had another whiskey ginger, and then Bruce forced me to have mezcal. By the way, every line of the book is like he's doing like a dinner, like a booze-fueled dinner with a straight couple, then going with one of his gays to Hell's Kitchen.
We'll get into the alcoholism.
I also found the way he also talks about the Housewives, which also felt less Machiavellian, is like he's not being like, you want to know the real tea about Ramona? He's like letting just things show themselves.
And he gets how good television is made. And so, but this is what I was saying about the Lady Gaga thing was,
oh yeah.
So he shoots this video with her and he's like, I don't know, is it funny? He goes, honestly, I didn't really get it. And I was like, the fact that he didn't even get what she was saying, that she's saying that he is like the emperor of this entire universe of like women whose lives are turned into fodder for reality TV shows, and they have to like catfight and backstab each other, but become also these like heroines and these archetypes. It's like he didn't even really see himself as being like that all powerful.
No, because you can tell by this book, he thinks the Housewives are the B story. And he thinks Watch What Happens is the A story.
Which I love.
Which I love. Like, he's like, I'm a late night host.
Yeah.
I'm the only gay late night host. And I just saw a documentary about AIDS, and that's really sad. And so I need to, like, be out and proud as the only gay host in late night. Okay, then I got Tricks with John Mayer. Like, he's much more just like every single story of this book, unless he's on vacation, is about that night's show.
Yeah. His biggest desire is that the show goes well, that the chemistry is, you know, lightning in a bottle. I mean, he's just like, Letterman and Bernhard in the 80s. That was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Oh, no, but he goes, another time he goes, Terry Garr and Letterman.
Yeah.
That was chemistry. Like, he is much more excited by that and is like such a kind of like news late night nerd than he is like he'll be like, ugh, I'm so like excited for like Married to Medical this season. It's going to be hilarious. But He's
But he
much
ultimately
more
he has
just
this
like
encyclopedic knowledge of late 90s, just like, oh, like Jimmy is killing it, just like he really knows what he's doing. Like when Seth Meyers and him have that convo and Seth is like, should I have a band or a DJ? And he's just like, wow, I guess other people like make fly by the like seat of their pants like decisions too. Like I really hope Seth does well. I'm so happy for him.
and then like he'll be at like again like some like the upfronts or like something, and he's like, so obviously I went straight to like Clara Hudgens because I'm a total local news nerd.
Oh yeah,
like he's always like running up to rant like a local.
He's obsessed
like, NBC.
He's obsessed with Janice Huff, like the weather woman for like New York NBC, whatever. Okay, wait. The line when he says, it's like very to the beginning, he goes, he's at some event. I mean, just the amount of insane random upfronts events and dinners, like it's all
he cooks
events.
at home
Maybe once. Okay, but this line, Suzanne Summers said she relates to me as a businesswoman, which I don't know what to do with. Women love to tell me that they are businesswomen, especially housewives.
No, I wrote that line too. That's when he is like kind of like, okay, like it's also like he knows women are obsessed with him, but he's also just like,
okay,
women be random.
Women
like,
be
and
so,
it's like,
all these straight women constantly like, I'm a businesswoman. I'd love to talk to you about, because like everyone thinks their Bethany ultimately is completely insane. Wait, the meeting with Bethany and Martha Stewart, I think it's literally at Mirandi also.
Insane. So he is like producing more shows now, and he's like, okay, I think like I'm gonna like have him meet with Martha and Bethany for like them to have a show, but like let's also get P. Diddy involved.
I feel like maybe that just became Martha and Snoop's show. Obviously,
I know, because he was like, I need to have a black show.
But so at the meeting, Bethany says, she's just like, I think the audience would be really interested in the tension between you and me. And Mandy's like, it kind of made the meeting like more awkward and intense that Bethany said that. It's like, I can so see Bethany's insane caffeinated Adderall ass and Martha
shaking me like, you know what I think, Martha? You know what I think? I think that would make the tension interesting. And then when he goes over to Bethany's house for dinner and he's like, she had tons of Skinny Girl products for everything. And it's like, I feel like her house was like so scary, unsold Shark Tank. And like, she's going over and she's like, do you want to try my new Skinny Girl tea? Do you want to try my new Skinny Girl popcorn?
Like thinking of Bethany's insanity and her wound upness. Like I used to have a much more negative view of Andy as well before reading this book. I thought of him as evil, and I thought of like, you know, that husband of the Beverly Hills housewife who killed himself. I was like, that's like Andy has blood on his hands. Like he has created this insanely toxic enterprise that where we like are so desperate to see these people fail and to see these people get hurt. And I came away with thinking like, oh, he's actually just like, I think he is completely obsessed with himself, and ultimately like probably that's why he can't have a relationship, is he can never like cede enough time to anyone else before it comes back to him, and he's trying to make the joke and like make something fun happen, and he's
that's
just
the
like,
other, you know, through line of this book is his singleness, and he has like a very close relationship, you know, with his friends, Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelo, Sarah Jessica, Matthew.
I love the way
Deirdre
that
and John.
There's just so many first names in this book, and he doesn't always explain. Like you always hear him saying Kelly and Mark or Consuelos or just like Kelly, and you know it's Kelly Ripa.
Right.
Wait, do you know who Natasha, whose death he refers to?
Yeah, Natasha Richardson.
Okay, you got that. Okay, I was just
it was okay. I know stuff about British people. So he talks a lot about, you know, Natasha Richardson's like memorial and all their friends and their big reunion in like Nice.
And they go to
BFF?
best friends with Tasha, and he's like, yeah, and then we did Easter at Vanessa Redgrave's upstate, and it was bittersweet because like Tasha used to make these muffins, and I'm like, you're friends with all these like 70-year-old actresses, but also like 40-year-old actresses. Like, talk about intergenerational relationships.
Serious intergenerational. I was, and he's like, oh, I feel so bad for Liam, and you're kind of just like, what on earth?
So, okay, two things.
But who? Wait. Yeah, the whole time I was like, who is Bruce and who is John? Who are like his best friends?
Okay, so I can actually answer. I know who John is because
is John like a producer?
John is like a producer on the show, and tea, get ready to be spilled. He slid into my DMs before.
Stop.
Yeah, because his okay, wait, you're actually gonna die. His name I might have. So the guy he keeps saying John Hill.
Yeah.
His full name is, wait for it, John Arthur Hill.
Arthur Hill. Shut up.
And so
Wait
and
a
he hasn't
second.
slid into my DMs in a long time, and maybe he doesn't even follow me anymore because he got bored. But like,
Wow.
there was a moment a few years ago where he said some flirtatious things to me.
Okay.
Andy Cohen's ex.
Oh, he's on Sirius XM channel 102.
Okay, and you also know that I have met Andy once.
At like CBS.
Yeah, like in like that Viacom building where I think they film Watch What Happens Live. There's like MTV and Comedy Central in there. Eric and I, bless you, Eric and I were like going to like some meeting there, and we got out on an elevator on the wrong floor, and I think it was like Andy's floor, and he was just bounding towards us, and the elevator opens, and we're just standing there, and like he just looks and sees two gay guys, and he just goes, "Hi, boys."
Oh my God. Wait, is he like 5'7"?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I mean, maybe 5'8".
But yeah, back to the singleness. So it's like Tinder was also just invented. So we're kind of getting into that. And he frames this book as like my year alone. And then I got a dog, and he gets this beagle named Waka. And that's like a whole thing to like soothe his loneliness. And he is doing what a lot of dog owners do, putting a little too much into the dog.
Waka becomes this... Obviously, this Schenectady, is that the Schenectady? Whatever that word is.
Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady.
This connection would be like
for his singledom and for the love and affection that he craves in his life and he's not getting. And he starts to build this very intimate, and he's very open about this. He's like, well, I was having a close relationship with Walker than I ever have a man in my life, and we fell asleep in each other's arms, and I spent all morning telling him that I loved him, but then we got in a fight.
Yeah, and it's always he's like, okay, Waka was following me everywhere. And thank God I had the show to do tonight because we needed some time apart. He's like, and then he's always like, we took this amazing drunken walk through the West Village together.
Oh, he's always like, drunk walks are the best.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, if we could just discuss the alcohol for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It made me feel good about my drinking.
Same. I was like, oh my God, I'm
fucking
practically
I'm a suffragette.
Quaker. I'm a little Quaker suffragette, like sober ass Mormon. Like,
so this is every day he wakes up, has meetings, goes to the gym with Ninja. Then obviously they drink in the show. So he always gets like wasted on the show.
Then he's like, then I got a shot of Jaeger as we were leaving the show. Then I go to
dinner. They have a thing called the shot ski.
Yeah, the shot ski.
Which is like a room where you do shots or something like that at Watch What Happens.
In the clubhouse. And he like always talking about the clubhouse. Then he's like, then we like stay at the clubhouse, and like I had like 3 drinks, just like Cristiano Ronaldo and like and Nene
Ricky
Leakes
Martin
like
left.
Backstage. Then I went and met John Mayer
Susie
at the
Essman
Dream
stayed.
Hotel. Yeah. And then I did my classic Corner Bistro 2 a.m. burger with John and Hickey. Then we went to Anderson and Ben Masani's bar, Atlas Social Club, and had more mezcal till 4. Then I slept with a Latino guy.
Yeah, he's always been like, yum, yum, Latinos.
Wait, the part in Miami where he's like, I had to make a gay Sophie's choice between a Latino man and a black man.
And that's what's very 2014 about this book.
That's what's very 2014 about this book. The casual fetishization.
And his relationship with Anderson is very sweet.
Super.
I'll say that. Not to become like such insane Andy stans on the spot where we're like,
he's literally a model citizen. I mean, they're gay guys. I mean, the biggest question obviously is have they fucked?
Because he's like Andy and Benjamin and their club, but then he's being like, just me and Anderson went to Rio.
So you think, but I need you to answer the question.
I think they have fucked in the past. Yeah. And it's a little, to me, now I am kind of like, I know they both have their like separate $5 million surrogacy children.
Right.
But it is.
Which I'm a little bit like, why did they just get one together? Like,
I know. I don't get it. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Like, obviously they're already both 50, but now I'm just being straight girl, being like, you guys should just be together and make it work.
Well, and also it makes sense because Andy's a top, and Anderson is a
bottom.
bottomisto.
Yeah. Even though sometimes the book Andy's being like, people ask me if I'm a bottom, like, okay, like, sis, like, simmer with the questions.
I think that he's verse top. I think like he's probably more of a top as he gets older, which a lot of people do. Daddy vibes. Because I kind of feel like maybe he was a bottom with John Hill for all those years. Because there's the part later when Anderson reveals that he's a top on when him, Kelly, and Andy are like hosting the Today Show or something.
Together. And he's like, when it's the three of us, we just go totally crazy.
It should be illegal. We should not be allowed to like do sub-in hosting for Al Roker on the fourth hour of Today.
Because we just push it. We just totally push it.
We fucking push it. We're crazy.
And again, I mean, I'm so glad we read like Kelly's book before this, because it's like she obviously talks about like hanging out with Andy a lot in that book, but this you really realize like how truly much of a fat keg she is. Like she is.
And he's like, so then we went over to her house in Sag Harbor. She's a gaggle of gays there. Like she just is, she needs to be surrounded by gay men.
Yeah, like she's literally at her pool, and he's like, it's Kelly's house. So, you know, there's going to be 9 million sexy gay guys there. And he's like, oh, thank God Mark could be the designated driver. And Mark is just like staying more sober so he can drive Kelly and her wasted ass gays around
gays
who are chugging Whispering Angel rosé.
Wait, the Whispering Angel rosé. He was like, oh, I had some Whispering Angel before I went on 360. I shouldn't have, but I did. Sorry.
When he says Lance Bass came over and was making like a wine spritzer with Whispering Angel, and he's like, yeah, they say it actually makes you drunker if you make it a wine spritzer.
Okay, that was another thing. I was like, so him and Lance don't fuck at that late night hangout.
No, he's being like, Lance, talk about an angel.
That's very like, he's not attracted to Lance, frankly.
Yeah, like he's so sweet, but no, I don't think him and Lance are fucking. I want to talk about Kathy Griffin. So as we know, Andy took over for Kathy, who used to do the ball drop with Anderson, and like Kathy used to be the crazy one to Anderson's straight man, and like they were like an unlikely friend group. I think the difference is with like Kelly, like she's still like, yes, she's like slutty gay guys, but she's still just like buttoned up and cheesy and B-list. Like she's not Kathy, who's saying everything under the sun.
Yeah, but Kathy's also not cool and doesn't drink and isn't hanging out and like not going to a pool party.
I guess that's the thing. And I feel like Andy says very few things about Kathy, and I feel like Anderson and Kathy were friends, and like
he says, remember, so it's an after party for a special, and they're at like, we're at Sardi's, we're at like Roma Sardi's at 57th, and everyone is there, and Martha's there, and Elsie is there, and John and Hickey,
and John and Bruce and Deirdre
and Lisa are there, and he's like, Kathy was being nice Kathy, which implies the existence of not nice Kathy. And then Kathy comes up to him and she's just like, oh, like, Andy, thank you so much. I love like I love that I'm on my 14th Bravo special. Like, I'm like so proud to have all these Bravo specials. He was like, now she was being grateful, Kathy. And he was like, even though I had really nothing to do with her getting those specials, I
still was like, sure, you're welcome.
Took the compliment.
He's like, then she kept it at that. Like, that's pretty short for Kathy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also, as you're saying, like, Anderson's the straight man. They love to kind of like play the live wire to him. And I think it's like they're both
They were competing live wires. And I think he always saw Kathy as like, I'm the kind of little competition. I think he was like, Kathy's actually too crazy. I'm the funnier live wire. I drink. She's like kind of random. And like is D-list, and like she did it. She's not in his like category of fabulous chica.
He knows how to like be fun with someone, but make them think you're on their side, so that they'll like say something revealing. And I think that he knows that that's the entire trick to late night. Whereas Kathy, she's not actually like charming or nice enough to like for people to want to be friends with her on their level. Like she's very funny and always has something to say, but she doesn't like connect with people in the same way.
Celebrity Book Club.
Lily, story time. So I saw Kate Berlant's show, her one-woman show, Kate.
Fabulous.
I'm backstage. Michael Stipe is there. You know, lots of celebrities as usual.
Who's who?
And then this girl goes, oh, I'm a huge fan of your podcast. turns out she's the designer of the boots that Kate wears in the show.
No, you're kidding.
Yes.
You're kidding. Wait, the like chic, made in Italy, really good quality.
Yes, these like fab little like Chelsea boots, but they're kind of stompy boots.
They're different than they're not. They're Chelsea.
They're not Chelsea boots.
It's like
they're like women's stomp. They're like professional women's
like
boots.
Every fabulous woman in a '90s sitcom, you know, from Jennifer Aniston to Deborah Messing, Terry Hatcher.
Yes, power city gal, but like they're sexy and fun at the same time. Anyway, she was like, "I'd love to sponsor your show."
We say boots constantly.
So now you listeners get to sort of enjoy the fruits of these boots.
Hashtag fruits of the boots. Since they're our new sponsor, they are offering 20% off with code 5boots.
No.
I mean, 20% off. That's not a fake email. That brings me over the should I buy, should I not? When it's 20% off.
We're over the hump. So go to labuc.com. That's LABUCQ.com and use code 5boots at checkout for 20% off. Offer valid till St. Paddy's Day.
I want to talk about this is another thing to his single life, his massages that made me think of a certain someone. So after some days when he's like not going to Barracuda with like Andy and Anderson, he gets a 2
Every
hour
single night
massage.
he gets a 2-hour massage from this guy named Adam, a twink named Adam. And it's not a happy ending.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, is this not erotic?
Like,
if it was erotic, would he talk about it so much?
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't, because like
so.
the actual sex scenes are pretty, like he's always just like, the Irish chef came over, like that was fun, but I don't think it's going anywhere. His sex life is in there, but he's never actually talking about the sex or saying it was amazing.
He'll be like, like he texted me the day after.
I saw the actor
or
that
like,
he sees at the Vanity Fair party, and then the guy texts him like, have a safe trip, like the next day. And he's like, well, that's over. Cool.
Another Tinder date with someone not age appropriate.
Like magazine guy who was ultimately too young, but he does take to see Hedwig, and he's like, Hedwig just isn't my show. And you know what? I didn't like it 15 years ago, and I don't like it now. But Neil Patrick Harris looks great, and he's like, and he told me that he has like a stomach bug, and I tell him that it's working for him because he looks ripped.
I was dying that he said he didn't like Hedwig. I feel like Gen Xers, it's almost of like gay guys. It's like you're required to be like obsessed with Hedwig.
Did you see Hedwig in high school?
I had the soundtrack in high school, and I feel like I'm sure I was like, Steven, this is actually like a really, really cool gay thing, and like maybe I'll burn it for you. Just maybe. But like I can't really remember the songs.
I remember seeing it. I think like I feel like, oh my God, I'm having a memory.
Oh my God,
I think my nanny Heather took me to see Hedwig because she knew I was obviously gay. Yeah.
Wait, like at the Will.
No. Like the movie. Was it like the John Cameron Mitchell like movie, right?
Okay.
Are we talking about the same thing? Or did that come out in...
Wait, now I'm like, did we see the movie together at Kendall Square? And I'm having a memory.
It came out in 2001. So we definitely were in high school. Heather was not my nanny then.
Yeah, you were done with Babysitters by 01? Or were you still nannied of nanny experience?
Okay,
I mean, I
maybe
do
we saw it
feel like
together
I
at
remember
Coolidge
like
Corner, and we were all pretending to like it more than we did because we were like, yeah, that was a really awesome indie gay movie.
That was really cool. That was really interesting.
And then like we did buy the soundtrack and didn't listen to it.
Yeah, and I feel like my soundtrack was used. So I think him and Anderson, okay, what about this? I think him and Anderson like kissed and like blowjob. I don't think full penetration.
I guess they must have, like, because I just got the impression that they haven't slept together, like, from reading this. But in my experience, all gay guys have to sleep with each other eventually. It's impossible to avoid. It will happen at some point. So I'm like, it just must have happened at this point. Like, there's no way it just couldn't have.
In my experience as well.
There's no way it just could have never happened.
Right. Though it's like he does, come off as someone who like maybe enjoys a corner bistro burger or a late night slice of New York pizza over maybe like fucking. Like sometimes maybe, he'll go home and go for the burger instead of spending that extra 30 minutes getting fucked. trying to look for someone to
Yeah, I don't think that he has a Samantha-esque appetite, but again, he might just be leaving that out. And maybe, Grindr was just coming out when this book started, but it's possible that 10 years later, he feels a lot less apprehension about opening Grindr and ordering a man over.
I mean, true. He said, because he had just downloaded Tinder, and he's like, this whole thing is weird. He is very like, what happened to the West Village? He is being like, another Bank of America. Like, I used to be into just meeting someone face to face and talking to them. Like, what is with this app stuff?
Wait, there's this funny line, which I think just really illustrates this world when he's going to this random event. Then I went to the world's largest picnic on Pier 84, sponsored by Hellman's. It was, no surprise, a paid appearance. Katie Holmes and Mario Batali were there, and it just made me realize everyone's on the dole.
Oh, that was unreal.
I just love the idea of Katie Holmes and Andy Cohen.
And Mario Batali.
Mario Batali all paid to be at a Hellman's world's largest
picnic.
This mayonnaise activation, just being like, oh, great to see you, Katie.
And Mario was like up there making like some sort of like deviled eggs, and it's so far away. And when he does the ALS bucket challenge, and he's like, I think I did it like kind of like too late. Like, can we all move on from the ice bucket challenge? Like, it's cold. I gave money. Like, is this
I love
helping?
that he just has this kind of instinctual understanding that nothing matters and everything is stupid. Like Clay Aiken just being like, will you please be on the board and like speak at my fundraiser for my congressional run? And he's just being like, what? Like, fine, I'll send a check. Like, I don't know anything about South Carolina politics, nor do I care. Like, whatever. And also, I can't go. I'm busy. I'm going to St. Bart's, but also LA, and I have to shoot this video. And then Candy Burris is coming.
It's funny because he's like always saying he is so like passionate about politics.
Oh, and the Bill Maher, and his mom is always telling him to not go on Bill Maher. And she's like, Andy,
you're not smart enough.
You're not political enough. They're going to make mincemeat out of you. You can't do it.
Very serious on that show. Very serious. So yeah, he hangs out like his parents. What I love, like his parents from St. Louis come to New York like literally every other weekend. He's like, so mom was bartending. I got dad an amazing double RL suit. So it's also when de Blasio is running, and he's like, I went to the de Blasio event that Cynthia Nixon was basically holding up with one hand.
I feel like I was
like,
there.
Were you there? Like. And then he keeps on talking about how he's worried that Bill de Blasio is too liberal for this city.
Yeah.
Just so, I feel like the Kelly Ripa, like New York news crowd of him.
Just being like, there's going to be homeless people everywhere.
Yeah. And like, come on, the police unions.
Well, and he did go on a rant against de Blasio that one time.
Well, and that's when he had to apologize for it, when he got too drunk.
When he was so drunk. Okay, the scene when Martha Stewart sends him that gift. Do you remember this?
Yes.
He goes, I went to 30 Rock and Martha Stewart had sent me this piece of wood shaped like the United States as a gift for hosting the American Made Awards, ... in October. Not to be a dick or look a gift domestic diva in the mouth, but aren't we well beyond the proper window of a thank you gift? Or do you have a year to thank someone for co-hosting your award show? Anyway, it's a cool piece of wood.
No, I am obsessed with calling out Martha Stewart with bad
etiquette.
Also, which is funny because remember that like viral Rosie O'Donnell story where Rosie O'Donnell gifted Martha Stewart
her the lemon tree, and then she like never heard from her again. Martha Stewart is a random ass gifter.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
it's
say
like
that.
her begging for gifts and then gifting later. Check your own etiquette book, Martha. Okay.
Also, it's so just like. It sounds like it's not even a cutting board, or maybe it is and he just doesn't know what a cutting board is because he doesn't cook, but it's like this piece of wood shaped like the United States.
Wait, back to his one meal, which defined gay guys cooking, by the way, New York City gays cooking. So when he's like trying to lose weight, he goes to a West Village deli and buys chicken sausage.
Oh yeah, the like Applegate chicken sausage.
I was like, nothing is more gay guy French bulldog than opening the fridge and having the Applegate in there. So back to his also like his gayness. So the book ends with him going to Fire Island and like at 50 or whatever he is, like accepting that he can go to Fire Island and basically admitting that like in his 20s and 30s and maybe even early 40s. Like he was like, Fire Island is like for like really flamboyant gays. And like, I'm not like that. And like everyone there is a drug addict.
Yeah, because he has these conservative tendencies.
And then he's like, by the way, I've never done meth. I've never done GHB, but I have done Molly and it's super fun. Really getting out there that he hasn't done meth. And then I was actually shocked by this. SJP comes and visits him in Fire Island.
We have to talk about this scene because it's so insane. This is the passage. Okay. SJP's arrival on the ferry was the closest thing I've seen to Dolly Levi returning to the Harmonia Gardens. Don't get that reference. Boys carrying her luggage, others handing her flyers, kisses blown, photos taken. For real, I thought a song and dance number was going to break out and the kids passing out flyers by the ferry were going to thrust her into the air. Just like
I'm imagining full Cleopatra, like gay guys just holding her up on the ferry.
I mean, there's nothing more exciting than SJP arriving to Fire Island. Like, it has to be this insane thing. Okay, but this part is insane.
Wait, the pantry part, when she goes to Pine's pantry?
SJP is a thing for grocery stores. She feels like when you travel, the local stores tell you a lot about where you are.
So XOSJ.
So after dinner, we took a walk to the town and went to the Pines Pantry so she could investigate. It's for those of you who don't know, Pines Pantry is just like a Dino DeLuca. It's just like an expensive
vacation grocery store.
She walked through that pantry with the wonder of a child visiting Disney World for the first time. Look at the beautiful butcher section. Here's the hardware. A crock pot. I can so picture
and seeing her being like, oh, isn't this the most darling section of mustards, Andy? Oh, we have to get one. Oh, I have to get Matthew one. I have to.
They have mustards in Fire Island, Andy. They really do.
And then they're like traipsing out and she's like and then she's like handing over her heavy card to like pay for a mustard and like a jam. And she's like, hello, how are you? I am doing quite fine. One mustard for me. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
No, absolutely. She was like, please tell me that you take American Express. Oh, wonderful. And then she's just fully shooting an Amex ad. You're just like,
yeah.
Sarah, I need you to calm down.
I mean, definitely, I feel like he tries to kind of put a pin on the book with Fire Island of being like, it was so renewing. Like, and then refers to the gays leaving on Monday as blood buckets.
Wait, why are they blood buckets?
He goes, the Monday fares are blood buckets because like they're leaving on Monday and they're like so hungover. I don't really like, because they're vampires, I guess.
Maybe, or like your blood is so like full of alcohol. I will say that I do feel like the real story is that he feels comfortable being a Fire Island now because he got in shape. And he lost weight and like started going to the gym and was like now more comfortable with his body, which is beautiful. But it's very just like, that's kind of what changed, babe. Like, you're rich and famous.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, it's crazy. I walk around with my shirt off all the time. It's just kind of like, it's not that insane.
And I'm proud of his journey. I mean, the thing is about
I think it's that, and I do think he maybe was a little more of this like office gay that was like, oh, like it was a body thing, but he was making excuses like, oh, I'm not into circuit parties. I'm, I'm not a slut.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And it's like, well, you're going to Kelly Ripa's house, which is basically a circuit party.
Right. So it's the same. It's like that's crazier than Fire Island.
Can I read this one passage that literally like made me cry? It like took my breath away. Do you remember when he's taking Waka in to get surgeries at the vet that ends up being like co-owned by Barbara Walters, and he's like terrified that Barbara Walters is gonna like fuck up his dog because he like makes fun of her age on The View when he's like co-hosting. Okay. But he's in the waiting room at this Barbara Walters vet hospital. Then a nurse brought a blind man over and seated him next to me. The nurse said to him, "I'm so sorry." After she left, he made a phone call, voice activated, to someone to explain that his guide dog had just died and he needed a ride. I was just sitting there frozen. It was a situation I'd never considered and so overwhelmingly sad that tears were streaming down my face. I told him how sorry I was. He said that this was his guide dog of 12 years and that he got a tumor out of nowhere. They just put him down. Like, isn't that the saddest thing?
That was
this blind
so
guy actually,
sad.
And he can't even go home because his guide dog can't like walk him home.
Wait, but it's also him like leaving. Like, I feel like Andy doesn't like offer him a ride. He's like, so I started sobbing. I didn't realize that like a guide dog could die.
No, then
anyway, then I met Kelly at Atlas.
No, he sees the guy outside like waiting for his car, and he like waits with him and helps him get in the car. He like does the right thing.
He does wait with him.
He was standing in front of the hospital. His bus was idling, but the driver wasn't inside. It was confusing. I told him the bus was there and like waited with him. It was a weird few minutes of limbo. His driver returned and off he went. I hope someone nice was waiting for him at home.
Okay, I take that back. He did wait with him.
Yeah, and he like made sure that he like got home safely. Like, I feel like he always does the right thing. And it's like, he's like very like classic New York. He's like, well, I give her a $4 tip and a $12 ride. Like, that's a pretty good tip. Like, what's the issue?
Yeah, or just like this homeless woman was screaming. So I went back and gave her $5. Then she said, my sweater made me look fat. It's very like New York moments.
Yeah.
And I do wonder with this book, you know, when we see his humanity and it's like the jump from 2013 to 2023, you know, I do think he's maybe a different man now. Like, I do think...
Now he has kids. He has his... But why doesn't he have a boyfriend is what you're saying?
No, I just wonder with, like... We're talking about having, like, you know, blood on his hands with Housewives. Like, I do think the beast has eaten him alive more. Like, how could it? But I don't think he could get himself out of it. Like, he can only go more in.
Even if he wanted to, he could only go more
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
It's like...
But I mean, but he likes doing like live streams with Coco Rocha at the DVF.
Yes,
like,
I love DVF.
luncheon. He's always, and this way, it's like he's at Atlas Social Club with Barry Diller, and Barry Diller is swiping on Tinder for him, and I'm just like, not Barry Diller's 85-year-old ass like swiping on Tinder for you, and you just be like, isn't this hilarious?
I also don't understand. I mean, I guess it's so celeb. Like, he's so close with John Mayer.
Yeah, I mean, John Mayer is so annoying and is like so wanting to be friends with everyone and is like wants to talk about himself. And
he knows Andy will listen. And I feel like Andy thinks John Mayer is hot. So like Andy does go to Montana and he's like, they shoot gophers and like it's just them. I was just like, what is this trip?
That's so fucking... But that's so the thing is the Housewives world is very like,
we're going on a trip.
You're not seeing the people you're on a trip with for like 10 hours out of the day. You're like separately in your rooms getting ready and then you're like meeting up at dinner.
Right. He's like, so then we met up at like the most amazing steakhouse. It was, but I was like, you guys are spending some time together. He's like, there's nothing sexier than seeing like John Mayer in a hat, like whipping up a skillet breakfast. Then we went to a grocery store. Like, then we went to a steakhouse. Then we went shooting. But yes, I'm sure there's like hours where like Andy is at a bookstore or like getting a massage.
And they're in Montana and like they're in totally separate guest houses and he's flying a masseuse in from Helena. Wait, also, did you clock the name of that restaurant that they go to like after the Coco Rocha like something event?
Oh yeah, he's so mad that the Chili's is closed.
We had dinner with a big group at Tortilla Republic and then all wound up at Revolver.
Could that be more Chelsea? It's like the most Tortilla Republic. Like it's 90.
They're in LA.
Oh, they're in LA.
They're in LA.
Wow.
At Tortilla Republic.
It still feels so 90,000 square feet.
It feels so huge in like Chelsea Market.
One other thing that I have to get to is when Theresa Caputo comes on his show and
does the reading of like the camera guy.
Yeah, and like they have in tears, but then like she tries to contact Natasha Richardson and can't, and then like he's like, Theresa called again. She wants like a do-over where she tries to contact Natasha, and obviously she's feeling like she's a fake.
Yeah,
doesn't want to be seen as a fake. And I was like,
really funny.
And he's like, no, I'm good. I don't need to like try to recontact.
Well, and like, do you think that Theresa is like just frantically like Googling Natasha and like putting together this dossier on her? So
she's like, why am I feeling cold? Why am I feeling cold?
She says the way she died, it was very sudden. It was very painful.
I feel like I'm all of a sudden going downhill. Okay, wind is in my face.
I'm seeing a lot of white. Does that bring anything to mind? A lot of just the color white. That's all I see is white.
He's like saying Tosh, and then
it's like he might not even had said Natasha Richardson, and like now she gets it. She's like, oh fuck.
She's like, fuck, and it's like telling her agent, being like, let's go back.
Okay, wait. Also, one last line I have to read. Bruce and I met Mark, Jason, and Lauren at Soul Cycle, which I hadn't done in a couple years because I always feel like if I wanted to be screamed at by lesbians, I'd go to the cubby hole.
Wait, obsessed with that line because Soul Cycle is so randomly like like
it's so like
buff
Jackie
femme
from Workout.
lesbian.
It's like
Yes.
so Jackie from Workout, just being like, get your ass off that seat.
In the air, ladies. He's also always at Cubby Hole.
I mean, he's in the West Village. Didn't
He's in
this
the
book
West
just
Village.
also
West
made
Village,
you-
please.
Make you want to live in the West Village. Not that I like don't usually want to live in the West Village because it's so adorable and there's so many restaurants per capita.
I know, it really is the ultimate,
and
like,
everyone has these like townhouses.
West Village place. You're like, this is Carrie.
It's a neighborhood and you're literally Carrie and Carrie literally lives there and it's just like.
But I don't know, even he's complaining about all of the Bank of Americas, and it's even more that now. So
That's true. I mean, this city's a fucking mall.
this fucking city.
I think part of what is wonderful about him is that he really does have such a lust for life and a joy for all of these like exciting people and just like making jokes and just like being in the thick of it, that I think that's like genuine. That doesn't come from this like.
Right. What I took away from him is like, he loves all the women.
Yeah.
He like loves going out, loves going to restaurants, loves going to mayonnaise events. You know, it is, sorry, like us, like the salmon event where like I want to go. That's the reason I live in New York. And that's his reason. It's like to go to a Hellman's event.
Celebrity Book Club.
Watch segments live. How does she
eat? What does she wear?
How does she
How
live?
does she live?
What does she eat? I mean, literally at a different West Village Hell's Kitchen restaurant every single night. But then for lunch, she's always getting the most like salmon with 2 sides, dig in, like Brussels and asparagus and salmon.
He's being really dig in, like when he's not being naughty, and then when he is being naughty, he's being like, I'm having the double heirloom melt, like with the French onion soup, and then a cheeseburger.
And he'll be like, ugh. Like I had the mushroom and Swiss, like,
And the food at Jerry Seinfeld's mom's Shiva was amazing.
oh yeah, and it's like anytime he's in the Hamptons, he's just like, uh-oh, amazing Jewish bread. I had salmon, 3 hot dogs, no bun, 2 more hot dogs. Then I went to Marcy's house, had to have froyo.
Yeah, his ice cream and like froyo obsession, I do feel is I guess that's just so 90s, and he is Gen X, and it's
Well, hello, I mean, that was 2013, 2014 was also 16 Candles, like, universe.
oh right, 16 handles. But like TCBY is, I guess I'm just like that people of
Not
that,
TCBY, it was what Pinkberry. It's Pinkberry and
You're right. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm saying that people of his age bracket, of his generation, I think are more into that. I guess like chicas are so into that now too, or they were into Pinkberry. But I was surprised because I don't feel like gay men of my age range of 34 to 36 are so into ice cream and froyo.
we could talk about this forever, but do you remember, like, friend of the pod, Sam, like, we go to 16 Handles every single day
Oh yeah.
in 2014? Every single day.
That is kind of haunting to
Okay.
be reminded of that. What's going on there? Like, what is that? Is that a Peter Pan syndrome thing? Honey, I don't want to see that. Like, I'm concerned by that. I don't think that adults should be
Whatever.
that in.
It's 16 Handles
and-
was
and
fun.
ice
Okay.
cream.
That it was about the toppings, the different flavors.
That the
like,
whole aesthetic of it is
it's-
too infantilizing. There's
I totally disagree. I think
think
we
there's
need
not-
more sober spaces for gay men. And it's like, it's more sloppy and teen. It's not kid-like. It's like redonkulous. Like you're grabbing like sprinkles and then
yeah,
fruit.
it's for bad grown-ups. Okay.
Yeah, it's like more naughty, and you're like sitting on these
Literally
weird
so
vinyl
not.
stools.
It's always these bright colors, and it's like so fluorescent in there. I don't think there is a world in which ice cream culture is not childish.
Okay, cool. You're old. Congrats. You don't like 16 Handles. Congrats. Okay. How does she live? I mean, the bed is high as the pyramids, hunty.
Okay.
Because he reminds. I
Yes,
think
he is so dog and gay guy and West Side, and he's so like jewel tone sofa and like, you know, the Jonathan Adler like bowl
It's
and the
very
Jonathan
Adler to me. Yeah.
rug, and then. But I also think that because he's so like busy and running to his office, then running to his show, then going out to dinner, it's like, yes, he hosts his infamous like Christmas party every year, but I don't think he's so like maximalist design. Because remember, he kind of doesn't care about like combining the apartments, and the meetings with the architect, he's always like,
he's like, oh my god, they're so boring. Like, I think
so. I don't
like,
think there's like so much art, and it's actually so gay guy like.
No. I'm not saying it's overblown. And also, like, I feel like he's just like, oh, I want a really good couch. And he talks about Cameron Diaz, like, telling him that she's obsessed with restoration hardware. And he's like, everyone is obsessed with restoration hardware these days.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't actually care about design that much. And, like, so maybe there isn't, like, I think, yeah, it's like he has, like, a couch from Article, honestly. And then he has, like, an orange lamp.
It's not, oh my God, he has a much more expensive couch.
Okay, it's from ABC Carpet and Home, but that's as high as we're going.
Yes, and he's eating there and he's buying a rug and it's done.
Yeah.
But I think the couch is brown leather and I feel like...
Well, now he doesn't have the dog anymore because, say it with me...
Yes, Walker was...
rehomed.
Because it was showing signs of aggression.
Towards his children.
I just think there's like a coziness that he wants in his... I think his bed in Sag Harbor is lower. The New York bed, I just like feel like he does want to be a little more like... Like... when he comes home after like a 3-hour massage and at Corner Bistro and like a night of shooting. What does she wear? I mean, like 1,000 shiny suits.
Yeah.
But he's obsessed with double RL. But he's always mad double RL isn't like Ralph Lauren.
Because it's like he's into the stores that are in the West Village. He probably goes like scotch and soda too. Like he's just like West Village.
He buys like 3 Olympic Ralph-themed Ralph Lauren sweaters.
Well, he like gets them. He's like, they're so ugly, but then this homeless woman liked them, and then actually it's kind of growing on me, and it does fit really well. He's very like he's obviously not like a fashionista. It's like he likes things to fit well. It's like he's so bonobos and like Untuck It, where he's just like, I love it when a shirt fits and like the pants like fit. Like everything is just like pretty tight. He know?
Also like does love a deal, and he's like, oh my god, they're giving away suits, and he's buying like 7 shiny maroon, white, pink suits at like a slow. Okay, sorry, Orzo's going all the way off. She's like knocking down tons of stuff.
It's time to rehome her.
Yeah, no, this is very signs of aggression. I need to rehome. Who are you in the book?
I think we're gonna go ahead and say that in many ways I'm Andy.
You're Andy.
And I'm a gay guy getting a massage.
Yeah, I mean, you love activations. You get 900-hour massages. And again, we've said it before, I'm Kelly with 900 gay guys over at my house.
You're definitely Kelly because you're definitely not Mark. You're definitely not being the designated driver.
Nope.
Okay, I give this book honestly like a very rare like 4.8 out of 5 anchovy salads at Mirandy.
Yeah, I mean, I give this, I'm going to be a little more conservative only because by the end of the book, listening to it, I was like, I've heard you say you're going to Mirandy for the 900th time. I'm literally just giving it a 4.5.
It's repetitive.
Dog treats you get in the West Village out of 5. But honestly, do listen to the audio. It's literally so fun and inspiring. And you're also just kind of like, what I love about him is like, he is really successful and super busy, but he also shows that he's actually not that busy. And like everyone's lying.
A, everyone's lying. B, is not that busy. C, if he can do it, so can you. It just felt empowering. I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, you go to the office, you do a little bit of work, then you like shoot some show. And I just love that he rolls with everything. And it's like the shit that happened. It's like when he has the weird altercation with Barbara Walters on The View, like he talks about it on his own show that night and he like makes a joke about it, sends her flowers the next day. And then the next day he's moved on. He's the next thing. It's just like he just keeps rolling with the punches, incorporating into his life and then like letting it go.
And he's like, yeah, not pretending to put out fires when they don't need to be. So anyway, listen, read, Andy Cohen. Yeah, you heard it here first. He's a gay guy.
And I think, and honestly, I'll say this, like, keep a diary, see what happens.
Literally keep a diary. I have to go because I have to go to an activation that's a charity for a shirt.
I have to run to a women's Makers of Long Island late lunch.
I'll write a check.
That I am hosting and doing the live stream for.
Okay, well, love you, club kids.
Best. Celebrity Book Club is presented by Stephen Phillips Horst. The show is produced by Stephen Phillips Horst with editorial support from Stephen Phillips Horst. Our production manager is Stephen Phillips Horst. Our intern is Lily Marotta. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Horst. Artwork by Teddy Blanks. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on Apple is my recommendation because I just find that it's sort of easier to go through. But some folks prefer Spotify. And I think one of the advantages to Spotify is kind of the black screen. It feels a bit more chic, a bit more downtown. And I've also heard that it is better for the environment because it uses less energy, but that seems fake to me. Also go to Patreon and do pay because you do want to hear us more. Okay, hope you're well. Bye.